Good afternoon, you gluttonous masticators. It's 5:49 in Guam, and thanks to the FCC, we're back on the air.
Well, it's been a long couple of weeks, and I look tan, and, well, you're still as ugly as you can be.
Since birth.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for waiting on us.
This is Jeff the Bagman Baggett.
And this is James the Nose Holt.
And we're
Just saying. Big deal or no big deal?
Wait, I got a little rant before we start.
Oh, the rant.
This is just a kind of a rant shout out. Last Friday, Lauren Hill, a freshman guard at Mount St. Joe's, died of cancer, brain cancer, at age 19. Now, if you remember, this is the young lady who Mount St. Joe's petitioned NCAA to move their home opener, not only back but to a different location, so that she would get the opportunity to play. And she did. And she's battled cancer for, I guess, the past 5 months and sadly passed away at the age of 19. So my rant is really against cancer. Screw you, cancer. Suck it, bite it. I'm tired of it. I just, it's one thing when you see people that are, an older age, and I don't know. There's just no way to say it. But it really affects me when you see a kid, a child, 19 years old, even younger, dying of this. I just say, suck it, cancer. We need to find a cure. I'm sorry. That's as deep as I'm getting today.
I appreciate that, and that a lot of fans out there will look upon that and know that you're not only the jackhole that you call everybody else, but you actually have a heart.
I do. I'd like to take this opportunity to say that though we may have some bad feelings for Lance Armstrong, I still think it's important that we support Livestrong and their cancer research to finding cures, especially for the good work that they do with children. But moving on.
Totally agreeable. Big deal or no big deal, you got something in store here.
I got some good things this weekend. Let's flash into the past. Wisconsin loses to Duke. That's how long it's been, ladies and gentlemen. Wisconsin loses to Duke. Big deal, no deal. Big deal, no deal. I think we talked a little bit about the tough games they played. Kentucky losing.
Kentucky's losing to Wisconsin, which a lot of people are mad at the whole NCAA and how the reffing was done over the past couple of weeks. And they said in the tournament itself, it was way too physical. Even Mark Cuban comes out and says that it was way too physical and they needed better reffing. So big deal or no big deal, I think it's a big deal for Duke. They have another notch in their belt. Congratulations to Mike Krzyzewski. You won't hear me say that often, but congratulations to his team. I think a bigger deal or no big deal to me is one and dones.
One and dones. All but 8 points. All but 8 of Duke's points scored by freshmen who could technically be gone.
True. You got 7 guys going from Kentucky. They're still going to be a number 1 team and a number 1 contender next year. John Calipari's way is, let me get the free agent.
Yeah.
I'm going with a big deal for Duke on the Wisconsin win. Wisconsin's win over Kentucky is a big deal. And I'm going to say the one and dones, that is going to be a big deal until somebody says something against it.
Yeah, we talked about this a while back about, should kids be allowed to come out of college before 4 years, Should there be more time under their belt before they go out into the pros and they're making millions of dollars? And I know everybody out there is thinking, well, what about all the other sports? Baseball, the average rookie age for a baseball player is much younger than a basketball player. Hockey the average age is much younger.
What about NFL?
NFL, at least they have 2 years in college. They have to go 2 years.
They have to be a certain age.
Yeah,
so.
And I mean that's because of the physicality of it all. But I will tell you that I'm not gonna argue that. I'm not gonna say it's right for this sport, but not right for this sport. I'm just saying you end up with guys like what's that guy, Copeland, or that rookie in the NBA out at 4 a.m. getting in a tussle, doesn't know how to behave himself because they're just kids. They're kids in a man's world, and an adult world. I don't want to say a man's world, but an adult world. And they need to learn how to take care of themselves before you throw them out there with all this kind
and
of money.
And I can throw a real quick in,
Yeah.
Mr. Spieth, I can't even say his name.
Jordan Spieth.
Just to say, 21 years old, winning the Masters, and he's out there acting like a grown-up.
Did you see him? I mean, his press conference after the Masters tournament was phenomenal for a man of that age and what he just accomplished, blowing people out of the water.
Big deal.
Big deal. And I was that was part of my big deal or no deal. And I'm glad you brought up Jordan Spieth because he deserves all the credit in the world. He blew that course off the map
and got a record.
And so my big deal was Tiger Woods has a pretty good first 3 rounds, hurts himself in the last round, finishes at 17th -5, 13 behind the leader. He kind of dropped off after his injury. He played well, but is this Tiger going up? Tiger coming back down?
I think it's Tiger's time. I think it's, every golfer has his day, and we'll know Tiger forever. But it's about time when you're getting hurt after you just came off of being hurt. It's time to pass the torch.
Yeah. Well, I was telling a friend, I think we discussed this at one point too, is that I think about Tyson, and after Tyson lost to Buster Douglas, we kept saying, he's going to be back. Every fight we paid for pay-per-view, we watched him thinking one day he's going to get the fire back, and he's going to, be back to the ferocious fighter he was at one time. He never got there. And I see Tiger's the same way.
Right. Manny Pacquiao in his 40s still beating up on guys. I mean, there's a big deal, but...
And that's the one good thing about golf. Golf is that one sport that you can stay at a pretty high level of play well into your older age,
Yes.
50s and beyond. Back to basketball. Big deal or no deal? UConn beats Notre Dame in the women's championship game. Geno Auriemma, is he a big deal? You can't say no.
See, you're giving me right now. It's kind of like they've done it. And UCLA did it and did it and did it and did it in the men's version, and it gets tiring after a while. Having the same people in the same championship over and over. And you were telling me earlier this week,
unless it's UNC Tar Heels.
Well, unless it's UNC Tar Heels, but I'm just a fan. But no, you have 5 seasons that were undefeated. If I'm not too bad mistaken, that's what you were telling me earlier this week. I mean, he is a great coach. He has people come to him, and these ladies stay for their 4 years. I mean, you don't see the ladies jump into the WNBA, and I know they're not as highly paid, but could they easily go to the WNBA, have themselves rested, and make
a great living,
make their money? Yes, they could, but they're staying in college, getting their college degree, and then if they want to go to the WNBA.
But he's rotated them out, in and out.
He is one heck of a coach. I think it's just boring to me just because it's the same over and over. I think if he'd have a tough time, I'd pull for the guy. If he would,
don't fix it.
And you're right. I mean,
he's 10-0 in national championship
He's
games.
up there. He is ridiculous.
He and John Wooden, the most national championships of any coach. He is 10-0, undefeated. He's money in the bank in the title game.
And I guess that's probably why I pull for like the Pat Summits, even though she was great and she was up there and she's the one of the winningest coaches ever. The thing is, she may lose that big game, and that was kind of the moment. And UConn, I don't think they're going to lose. I mean, if they're in it next year, am I going to put my money on the underdog? No, I'm not putting my money on the underdog. I'm afraid that UConn's going to win.
Yeah.
That's not overrated.
Nah. So baseball season has started.
Yes.
Test your knowledge. Test your willingness.
It's pitiful.
The Kansas City Royals, your American League champion Kansas City Royals, are off to a 6-0 start.
6-0.
The only team never to have a 40 home run hitter in its history. 6-0 start with the 25-run differential. That's almost a 4-run differential per game. Is this a big deal after 6 games?
I don't believe it's a big deal if you're at number one. Again, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Right.
If you're the Yankees, regrettably, I'm going to say, if you're the Yankees, you're broke, you're going to fix it. If you're not one of the top guys. That's how the Yankees look at it.
So is it a big deal or is it no deal that they're 6-0?
I'm going to go with a no deal at this moment in time.
So I'll flip it and say the Yankees are 2-4. They've lost 2 home series, 1-2 to the Blue Jays and 1-2 to the Boston Red Sox. 2 interdivisional teams. They are 2-4 with a -2 run differential. Big deal or no deal?
I just mentioned it. It is a big deal. To the Yankees, it's a huge deal. If they're already 2-4, I probably lay money on it that somebody's in the front office going, who are we trading to get this guy? Or who are we trading to get a hitter? Who are we trading to get a better pitcher? They're already saying that right now.
They put up like 50 runs against Boston last night. I'm just saying. Okay, well,
Glad I'm not a Boston fan.
It wasn't 50 runs, but it was a good amount. I believe at one point I lost track. It was 14-4, I believe. I think they put up 14 runs. They put up a 7 spot in the bottom of the first, which is awesome. Clay Buchholz totally wet the bed on that one. But, I just had to rag some Red Sox fans because, they did take 2 out of 3 at Yankee Stadium, so I'll give them credit. But one of those was a 19-inning marathon. I tell you what, I watched that game. I fell asleep during the 15th inning, and I fell asleep again on the 18th inning. And then I woke up the next morning and watched the rest of it. It was 8 hours.
Wow.
I think it was 8 hours start to finish. Baseball season's going to be long, so we'll hold off on that a little bit. What you got for me?
We got a who you got next.
Who you got? You want to do who you got? All right.
You've got something in store for me.
I do. A month ago, we talked about the San Antonio Spurs. San Antonio Spurs at that point were in 7th place.
Okay.
They were 40-24. They are now 55-26 and in 2nd place. A month later, they went 15-2 over the month. Cleveland at the time was number 2. They are still number 2. They were 42-25 at the time. They are now 51-29. They went 9-4 over the month. This is my who you got. I'll give you 2 teams to bet on. You can have Golden State or San Antonio.
Okay.
Golden State and San Antonio, or Atlanta and Cleveland. Who are you putting your money on? Golden State and San Antonio, or Atlanta and Cleveland to win it all?
To win it all.
To win it all.
See, here's the thing. You kind of loaded that question, and then you threw in an East team, the Atlanta Hawks, who will actually fizzle out, I believe.
I gave you 2 Eastern teams, Atlanta and Cleveland, or Golden State and San Antonio. And you
I'm going to go with Golden State and San Antonio because Eastern teams have reluctantly, within the past couple of years, blown their, not to be taken by anybody on that one, but blown their leads on easy games. Don't think that the Cavaliers will get as far as we hope they do for those of you LeBron fans out there.
So if I gave you the East versus the West, you would take the West still?
I'd take the West right now.
Right now. I think...
You give me those in the 90s,
I think
in the early...
he chose wisely.
in the 90s, I would have chose the East.
Yeah.
Right now, it's a swing. So, 5 questions.
You want to do 5 questions?
Real quick. We got some time.
5 questions. Here we go. In the fashion of James Lipton in the Actors Studio.
Oh, Lord.
Here's your 5 questions. What's your favorite sports word?
Favorite sports word? I would go in fuego there for a long time. They were talking about, or like the trifecta. God, I'm going to go with the trifecta. Never mind. I'm going to go with the trifecta.
What's your least favorite sports word?
Oh, I don't have one. I don't have one. I don't got a good sports word. That's terrible.
I can't move on until you answer the question.
Oh, Lord.
Boys and girls, we're going to be here a while.
We are. Give me, diaper dandies.
There you go. I like it.
Definitely.
What excites you the most about sports? What's the most exciting moment in sport for you?
Seeing the underdog win.
If heaven exists, What sports figure do you look forward to most meeting?
Dean Smith.
That's it.
Golly. No, I'm going to get you back on those. All right, real quick. Who wore it?
Who wore it?
Who wore it best? We're going to go through the numbers 11 through 16, but we're skipping 15 because that's going to be a question of the day.
All right.
The number 11, worn by Mark Messier and Isaiah Thomas. Who wore it best, sir?
Mark Messier. Absolutely. 6 Stanley Cup championships.
They call him the Messiah for a reason.
One of the premier forwards, second, I think, all-time in scoring to the great one. Messier all the way. And he never accosted any women, as far as I know.
Number 12, worn by Tom Brady, John Stockton, Terry Bradshaw, Joe Namath.
So, it's easy to say Tom Brady. It really is.
Not for me, but okay.
And I will surprise you and say, I think it's a toss-up between Tom Brady and John Stockton.
I'm a John Stockton fan.
I mean, I am too. And it's a shame that he and Karl Malone both played during the time of the Bulls
You're right.
in Houston. And that's the only reason he wouldn't be a dead ringer for number 12 right now. But Tom Brady, I got to give it to Tom Brady.
Real quick, though. If they wouldn't have played during those years of Chicago Bulls and all.
6.
They'd have won 6?
I'd give them 6.
All right.
I'd give them at least 4.
If anybody disagrees, go ahead. Hit us in the bottom there.
That's my New Orleans / Utah Jazz you're talking about.
Number 13, worn by Wilt the Stilt Chamberlain, Dan Marino, your boy A-Rod, and a man from the NHL named Pavel Datsyuk.
Dutchik.
Okay,
yeah,
I'm good.
Dutchik.
I'm glad I know
close,
NHL.
You're close. And I'm going to get hate mail for this, but I will tell you this. Wilt the Stilt was great, but Alex Rodriguez is probably one of the greatest athletes to ever to wear number 13. And I know you go ahead, give me your hate mail.
I'm going to go with Dan Marino.
PED. Dan Marino was, the thing is,
I'm not going to disagree with Wilt Chamberlain. He's heads above the rest of the people that were playing in the NBA at that time.
But Alex Rodriguez is probably in. Let's go back before the Texas Rangers time. Okay, probably one of the greatest shortstop ever to play the game. And the thing is that I'm going to get killed on PEDs. But boys and girls, let me tell you one thing. Alex Rodriguez has never failed a Major League Baseball drug test. However, since they've instituted the Major League drug PED test, 19 players in 2008, 19 players have failed that test. Major League players.
Wow.
8 of them have been pitchers.
8 have been pitchers.
Almost half of the players have been pitchers.
That seems redundant, though. Why would you? I mean, I understand you need fuller strength, you need bigger, but
muscle
hitters
building
seem more like they would.
You're right. But I want everybody to consider that 8 of those 19, almost half of them, have been pitchers, simply because the pitchers are the ones that get the free pass on PED use for exactly the reason you just said. But I'm not trying to defend Alex Rodriguez and his alleged steroid use. I still say number 13. I would have said it when he was with Seattle. I would have said it when he was with Texas. Before he was a Yankee, he still won.
Number 14,
Go.
then. We'll move on.
Go.
Pete Rose, Bob Cousy, and Brendan Shanahan.
Ooh, that's Pete Rose.
Pete Rose.
I mean, on the field, off the field, Pete Rose. Yeah, I mean, I can't tell you.
And then our last number today, number 16, because we're going back to number 15 later. Joe Montana, Brett Hull, Pat LaFontaine.
Pat LaFontaine. He played with the Islanders. He was a hockey player, in case you didn't know.
I got
was
that.
Brett Hull. But Joe. It's Joe
Of
all
course.
the way. I mean, that's no competition. That I think those were pretty much softballs, except for number 13 that I'm going to get hate mail on. But that's okay. I'll take it.
Real quick for all of you that listen up for our question of the day and would like to actually answer that question of the day, the number 15 was worn by an NFL player. I'll even give you that far. Who was it?
My peeps better get this right. That's all I have to say.
So there's your question of the day.
So that's all I got for you today. How about you?
That's all I've got.
We're at 20 minutes.
Think we're good to sign off today?
This has been Jeff the Bagman Daggett.
And this is James the Nose Holt.
And all I know is I never poked Jason Jalmy in the butt with anything.
And we're
Just saying.
Great moments are born from great opportunity. And that's what you have here tonight, boys. That's what you've earned here tonight. One game. If we played them 10 times, they might win 9. But not this game. Not tonight. Tonight, we skate with them. Tonight, we stay with them. And we shut them down because we can. Tonight, we are the greatest hockey team